students. Today we're in the 12th chapter. This is about outsourcing, managing inter-organizational relationship. It is rare in today's flat world to find important projects that are being completed totally in-house. Outsourcing or contracting externally significant segments of project work to other companies or suppliers is a commonplace. For example, 9 states attempting to unify the accounting of all their state agencies did not have the internal resources to implement such a large project. Hence, project teams were formed consisting of personnel from software, hardware, and accounting firms to implement the projects. Small high-tech firms outsource research to determine what features customer value in new products they're developing. Even industry giants such as Microsoft, Amazon, and Intel commonly hire independent firms to test new products they're developing. So this section extends the previous two sessions discussion of building and managing relationships by focusing especially on issues surrounding working with people from other organizations to complete a project. So this is the chart that shows the progress of our study. So we are in chapter 12, outsourcing. The key learning outcomes. First, the advantage and disadvantage of outsourcing projects are introduced. This is followed by a discussion of best practices used by firms to outsource and collaborate with each other on projects. The focus then shifts to the art of negotiating, which is at the heart of effective collaboration. Negotiation skills and techniques for resolving disagreements and researching optimal solutions are then presented. The session closes with a brief note on managing customer relationship. In addition, an appendix on contract management is also included to augment our discussion of how organizations work together on projects. So the chapter outline is presented here. It includes outsourcing project work, request for proposal RFP, best practices in outsourcing project work, the art of negotiating, a note on managing customer relationships. First, outsourcing project work. The term outsourcing has traditionally been applied to the transferring of business functions or processes, for example, customer support, IT, software development, accounting, to other companies. Often foreign companies can be domestic companies as well. For example, when you call your internet provider to solve a technical problem, you're more likely to talk to a technician in Bangalore, India, or Bucharest, Romania. Outsourcing is now being applied to contracting significant chunks of project work. HP, Dell, Microsoft all have worked closely with hard drive manufacturers to develop next generation computer softwares or laptop hardwares. Toyota and Daimler Chrysler collaborate with suppliers to develop new automobile platforms. The shift towards outsourcing is readily apparent in the film industry. During the golden era of Hollywood, huge vertically integrated corporation-made movies, studios such as MGM, Warner Brothers, and 20th Century Fox owned large movie lots and employed thousands of full-time specialists, set designer, camera people, film editor, and directors externally. Star actors like Humphrey Bogart and Marilyn Monroe were signed to exclusive studio contracts for a set number of films. Today, most movies are made by a collection of individuals and small companies who come together to make films, project by project. This structure allowed each project to be staffed with talent most suited to its demands rather than chosen from only those people the studio's employees. This figure depicts a situation in which a zero-gravity reclining chair is being developed. The genesis for this chair comes from a mechanical engineer who developed the idea in her garage. The inventor negotiates a contract with a catalog firm to develop and manufacture the chair. The catalog company in turn creates a project team of manufacturers, suppliers, and marketing firm to create the new chair. Each participant adds requisite expertise to the project. The catalog firm brings its brand name and distribution channels to the project. Tool and die firms provide customized parts, which are delivered to a manufacturing firm that will produce this chair. In the meantime, marketing firms refine the design, develop packaging, and test market potential names. A project manager is also assigned by the catalog firm to work with the inventor and the other parties to complete the project. Many outsourcing projects operate in a virtual environment in which people are linked by computer, uh, internet, computer-aided design systems, video teleconferencing, etc. They rarely, if ever, see one another face to face. The advantages of outsourcing projects are many. First, cost reduction. Companies can secure competition prices for contracted services, especially if the work can be outsourced offshore. Furthermore, overhead costs are dramatically cut since the company no longer has to internally maintain the contracted service. It can also provide faster project completion. Not only can work be done more cheaply, but it can be done faster. Competitive pricing means more resources for the money. So, for example, you can hire 3 Indian software engineers for the price of 1 American software engineer. Furthermore, outsourcing can provide a success to equipment that can accelerate completion of the project task. Third advantage is a high level of expertise. A high level of expertise and technology can be brought to bear on the project. A company no longer has to keep up with technological advances. Instead, it can focus on developing its core competencies and hire firms with the know-how to work on relevant segments of the project. It also gives companies a lot of flexibility. Organizations are no longer constrained by their own resources, but can pursue a wide range of projects by combining their resources with talents of other companies. Small firms can instantly go global by working with foreign partners. There are also a lot of disadvantages in outsourcing. For example, coordination breakdowns. Coordination of professionals from different organizations can be challenging, especially if the project work requires close collaboration and mutual adjustment. Another one is loss of control. There is a potential of loss of control over the project if many partners are involved in it. The core team depends on others, organizations that they have no direct authority over. While long-term survival of participating organizations depending on performance, a project may falter when one partner fails to deliver. There may be conflicts of interests. Projects are more prone to interpersonal conflict since the different participants do not share the same value, priority, and culture. Trust, which is essential to project success, can be difficult to forge when interactions are limited and people come from different places. There are also security issues. For example, confidentiality is a concern, and companies have to be very careful when outsourcing processes like payroll, medical transcriptions, software development, insurance information, and so on. Sorry. Request for proposal (RFP) is one type of document that project outsourcing are needed. So since most outsourced work on project is contractual in nature, so this RFP document indicates different kinds of contracts that can be used, their strengths and weaknesses, and how contracts shape the motives and expectations of different participants. Contract management is a key element of any project procurement management system. It is beyond the scope of some of the discussions here in today's lesson. However, the basic processes are listed here in these 9 steps to put contract management into details, and related topics are highlighted in perspectives. So these are, for example, summary of needs and request for actions, statement of work (SOW), project schedule, cost and payment schedule, type of contracts, experience and staffing evaluation criteria. Contract evaluation template. This is a form that many contractors would use to evaluate the qualifications and capability of the contractors using quantitative methods. Sometimes contractors could have a long-term relationship, and also there may be rivalries between different organizations. So using very specific measurements and details to evaluate contracts is a very essential step to determine the direction of the contract and the contractors that could be chosen, and the reliability of the contractors. Some of the best practice in outsourcing project work. Instead of the traditional master-slave relationship between owner and provider, or buyer and seller, all parties work together as partners when contract is established. The ultimate goal of working together is to achieve success together. Well-defined requirements and the procedure convincing people from different professions, organizations, and cultures to work together. If expectations and requirements are fuzzy or open debate, this is even harder. Successful firms are very careful in selecting the work to be outsourced. They often choose to contract only work with clearly defined deliverables with measurable outcomes. Not only do requirements have to be spelled out, but the different firms' project management systems need to be integrated. Common procedures and terminology need to be established so that different parties can work together. This can be problematic when you have firms with more advanced project management systems working with less developed organizations. Surprisingly, this often is the case when US firms outsource software work to India. We have heard reports that Indian providers are shocked at how unsystematic their US counterparts are in their approach to manage software projects. Extensive training and team building are essential. Too often managers become preoccupied with the plans and technical challenges of the project and assume that people issues will work themselves out over time. However, smart firms recognize that people issues are as important, if not more important, than technical issues. This is what we have studied in the lesson before, to managing people as effective project managers. They have to train their personnel to work effectively with people from other organizations and countries across the country and across borders. This training is pervasive. It is not limited to management, but involves all the people at all levels who interact with and are dependent upon outsourcers, whether in a general class or negotiation or a specific one on working with the Chinese programmers. Team members are provided with a theoretical understanding of the barriers to collaboration, as well as the skills and the procedure to success. Key differences between partnering and traditional approaches to managing contracted relationship. The traditional approach tend to be uh, working alongside with each other, and they tend to foster suspicion and distrust. Each party maybe is wary of the motives for actions by the other. Uh, Objectives is limited due to fear of reprisal and lack of continuous improvement opportunity. Differences between the traditional approach and the partnering approach to managing contracted relationship are summarized here. Partnering requires more than a simple handshake. It typically entails a significant commitment of time, energy, and resource to forge and sustain collaborative relationships among all parties and create a win-win situation for all parties involved. The best companies address this issue upfront instead of waiting for problems to emerge. First, they assess a fit between all the providers of the services and their own project management system. This is a prime consideration in choosing a contractor or a vendor. Work requirements and deliverables are spelled out in details in the procurement process. They invest significant amount of time and energy to establishing project communication system to support effective collaboration. Finally, whenever you work with other organizations on projects, security is paramount. Security extends beyond competitive secrets or business information or technology to include access to information system. Firms have to establish robust safeguards to prevent information access and the introduction of virus due to less secure provider system. There are four stages and four strategies for communicating with outsourcers. So strategy by recognizing cultural differences and respect cultural diversity. Choose the right words in communicating with outsourcers. Confirm requirement and set deadlines. A partner charter here showing in the photo is a document that outlines the agreement normally when an an organization signing contractors with service providers. So this contract outlines the responsibilities, expectations, and goals of a partnership between two or more entities. This is a document that is often created at the beginning of a partnership or collaboration to ensure that all parties involved have a clear understanding of the roles and commitment and different specific deliverable they have to contribute to. Key components of a partner charter typically involve purpose and objectives, roles and responsibilities, scope of work, governance and decision making, resource allocation, metrics and evaluation, communication plan, risk management plan, termination exit strategy, and so on. By creating a partner charter, organization can ensure alignment, transparency, accountability among partners, and ultimately increasing the likelihood of a successful collaboration. This is another example of the key documents. More and more companies are using online survey to collect data from all project participants about the quality of work relationship. With this data, company can gauge the pulse of the project and identify issues that need to be addressed. Comparison of survey responses period by period permits tracking areas of improvements and potential problems. In some cases, follow-up team building sessions are used to focus on specific problems and recharge collaborations. Finally, when the time to celebrate a significant milestone arrives, no matter who is responsible, all parties gather if possible to celebrate the success. This reinforces a common purposes and project identity. It also establishes positive momentum going into the next phase of the project. The advantages of a long-term partnership are multitude. Many companies recognize that major benefits can be enjoyed when outsourcing arrangements extend across multiple projects and are long-lasting. So, for example, Corning and Toyota are among the many firms that have forged a network of long-term strategic partnership with their suppliers. A recent study indicates that the average large corporation is involved in around 30 alliances today versus fewer than 3 in the early 1990s. Reduced administrative costs, the more efficient utilization of resources, as well as improved communication, improved innovation, and improved performance are some of the key advantages in establishing a long-term relationship. So for outsourcing to work, the individual involved needs to be effective negotiator and capable of merging interest and discovering solutions to different problems that contribute to the project. The art of negotiating. Effective negotiating is critical to successful collaboration. All it takes is one key problem to explode to convert a sense of we into us versus them. At the same time, negotiating is pervasive through all aspects of project management work. Project managers must negotiate support and funding from top management. They must negotiate staff and technical input from functional managers. They must coordinate and negotiate project priorities and commitments. They also negotiate within their project team to determine assignments, delegate tasks, establish standards and deadlines. Project managers need to be good leaders and to be able to work effectively within the project team. They must negotiate prices, standards using different currencies that we have studied in the lesson previously. They work with all types of stakeholders, vendors and suppliers in order to make sure the project goes smoothly. A firm understanding of the negotiating process, skills, and tactics is essential to project success. Many people approach negotiating as if it is a competitive contest. Each negotiator is out to win as much as he or she can for his or her size. Success is measured by how much is gained compared with the other party. While this may be applicable when negotiating the sale of a house, it's not true for project management. Project management is not a contest. It's an alliance. It's a partnership to work together. And for this alliance to work successfully, it needs a certain degree of trust, cooperation, and honesty. Dealing with unreasonable people, most of the time people working on projects realize that in the long run it is beneficial to work toward mutually satisfying solutions. Still, occasionally people can encounter someone who has a dominant win-lose attitude or rivalry attitude about life and will be difficult to deal with. Fisher and Uri recommend that people use negotiating jutsu when dealing with such a person. That is, when the other person began to push, don't push back. As in the martial art or Tai Chi, avoid pitting your strengths against another's directly. Instead, use your skill to step aside and turn that person's strengths to your ends. When someone adamantly sets forth a position, neither reject it or accept it. Treat it as a possible option and then look for the interests behind it. Instead of defending your ideas, invite criticism and advice. Ask why it is a bad idea and discover the other's underlying interest. Those who use negotiation 主体组 rely on two primary weapons. They ask questions instead of making statements. Questions allow for interests to surface and do not provide the opponent with something to attack. The second weapon is silence. If the other person makes an unreasonable proposal or attacks you personally, just sit there and don't say a word. Wait for the other party to break the stalemate by answering your question or coming up with a new suggestion. The best defense against unreasonable win-lose negotiators is having what Fisher and Urey call a strong best alternative to a negotiated agreement. They point out that people try to reach an agreement to produce something better than the result of not negotiating with that person. Well, those results would be the true benchmark for determining whether you should accept an agreement. A strong partner gives you the power to walk away and say no deal unless we work toward a win-win scenario. So overall, negotiating is an art. There are many intangibles involved. This section, we have reviewed some time-tested principles of effective negotiating based on the groundbreaking work of Fisher and Urey. Given the significance of negotiating, you are encouraged to read their books as well as others on negotiating. In addition, attending training workshops and reading related books can provide an opportunity to practice those skills. You should also take advantage of day-to-day interaction with your classmates, your tutors, in order to sharpen negotiating acumen. A note on managing customer relationship. So this lesson emphasizes the ultimate success is not determined by whether the project was completed on time, on budget, within budget, or according to specifications, but whether the customer is satisfied with that has been accomplished. Customer satisfaction is the bottom line. Bad news travels faster and further than good news. For every happy customer who shares his satisfaction regarding a particular product or service with another person, a dissatisfied customer is likely to share his or her dissatisfaction with 8 other people. Project manager needs to cultivate positive working relations with clients to preserve their reputation. Customer satisfaction is very complex. One simple but useful way of viewing customer satisfaction is in terms of met expectations. According to this model, customer satisfaction is a function of the extent to which perceived performance or outcome exceeds the expectations. Mathematically, this relationship can be perceived performance and expected performance. When performance falls short of expectations, the customer is dissatisfied, which means ratio equals 1. If the performance matches expectations, which means ratio is 5 to 1, the customer is satisfied. High customer satisfaction is the goal of most projects. However, profitability is another major concern, adding constraints to that objective. So exceeding expectations typically entails additional costs. For example, completing a construction project 2 weeks ahead of schedule may involve significant overtime expenses. Similarly, exceeding reliability requirements for new electronic components may involve considerably more design and debugging effort. Under most circumstances, the most profitable arrangement occurs when the customer's expectations are only slightly exceeded. Returning to the mathematical model, with all other things being equal, one should strive for a satisfaction ratio of 1.05, not 1.5. So here is the expectation ratio. So 1.05 is what companies need to aim at because it's help to reach cost efficiency and also can help exceed customer expectations. So overall, if performance falls short of expectation, ratio is smaller than 1, the customer is dissatisfied. If the performance matches expectation, ratio would be equal to 1, the customer is satisfied. If the performance exceeds expectations, ratio is bigger than 1, the customer is very satisfied or even delighted. So overall, to managing customer expectation, need to avoid the temptation to oversell the virtue of a project to win approval, lower customer expectations by underselling projects, and work closely with client organization to develop a well-defined project scope statements, share significant risks or potential problems that might disrupt project execution, as well as keep customers abreast of project progress, handle customer interactions, unexpected problems, and setbacks with a competent and professional manner. Speak with one voice, speak the language of customer. So in some respects, customer perceptions of performance are shaped more by how well the project team deals with adversity than by actual performance. Project managers can impress customers with how diligent they deal with unexpected problems and setbacks. Likewise, industry analysts have noted that customer dissatisfaction can be transformed into customer satisfaction by quickly correcting mistakes and errors and being extremely responsive to customer concerns. Managing customer relations on a project is a broad topic. We have only highlighted some of the central issues involved. This table brief segment concludes with 2 words of advice passed on by many veteran project managers. Speaking with one voice. Nothing erodes confidence in a project more than for customer to receive conflicting message from different project members. Speak the language of the customer. Too often, project members respond to customer inquiries with technical jargons that exceeds the customer's vocabulary. Project manager needs to be aware of these pitfalls. Okay, students, that's the key contents for today. This page shows a link to the multiple choice quiz for today's content that you can do after this lecture. Alternatively, you can do at home as well. There is also a video link that give you the video topic for this chapter that we have been listing every week. There is also an appendix that's being attached at the end of this class, including contract management, procurement procedure, and so on. So you can refer to this information as extended study. Do you have any questions?